Hey, Smart Hustle family, welcome back. So let me ask you a question, and I want you to really think about it. Why is it that most people can work for 30, 40, or even 50 years and still never really truly become financially free? It's a massive puzzle, and today we're going to tear it apart.
I mean, you see it everywhere, right? People pour their entire lives into a career, they climb the corporate ladder, they put in the overtime, but that finish line, that dream of financial independence, it feels like it just keeps getting pushed further and further away. So what is going on?
And here's the part that's really baffling. So many people are doing exactly what they were told to do. They're earning, they're saving, they might even be dabbling in investing. They're playing by the old rules, but that feeling of financial pressure, man, it just never seems to leave.
Which brings us to the most important question of all. What if the problem isn't a lack of effort? What if it's not about working harder? What if the real issue is the entire financial blueprint we've been handed? Because if the map is wrong, it doesn't matter how fast you run.
So yeah, let's talk about this traditional path to success. It's the story we've been told since we were kids, and frankly, for a lot of people, it feels like a broken promise. Let's really look at what that path is.
I bet you could recite this in your sleep. Go to school, get good grades, land a stable job, work your tail off, be a loyal employee, save your money, and then step 5 is just a big old question mark, right? It's this vague hope that somehow it all magically works out in the end.
But here's the brutal truth. For way too many people, following that plan doesn't lead to freedom. It leads to survival. It's a lifetime spent on a financial treadmill just trying to keep up, never feeling like you're actually in control of your time or your life.
Okay, so why does this path fail so often? Well, it kicks off with a massive 1-2 punch that I call the income and spending trap. This is what keeps people running in place for decades.
The first part of this trap is the income cap. For most of us, our job is a simple exchange. We trade our time for money. The huge problem with that is there are only 24 hours in a day. You can't just create more time, which means there's a hard ceiling on how much you can ever earn. That makes it incredibly difficult to scale.
And then comes the second part of the trap, and this one is so sneaky. We call it lifestyle inflation. You know exactly what this is. You get a raise, and suddenly that old car isn't good enough. You get a bonus, and suddenly you're looking at a much more expensive vacation. It feels good, but it comes at a huge cost.
And this is the trap in action. As your income goes up, your expenses rise right along with it. So instead of actually moving forward and building real wealth, you're just standing in the exact same spot, but now it costs more. You're not getting richer, you're just getting more expensive.
This whole cycle leads to an even bigger, more dangerous problem. I call it the critical asset void. And it all comes down to understanding the massive difference between just earning money and actually owning things that make you money.
For most people, their entire financial life is just one big loop. Money comes in from the job, and it goes right back out to pay for life. Earn, spend, repeat. It's a hamster wheel, and there's no off-ramp in sight.
And the net result of that loop? It's a big fat zero. Without building a foundation of assets, you are literally starting from scratch every single month. It doesn't matter how big your paycheck is. If you have nothing working for you while you sleep, you're always back at square one.
And this, right here, is probably the most important insight. Assets. We're talking stocks, real estate, a side business, you name it. They are the engine of financial freedom. They are your little money-making machines that work for you 24/7. Without them, you're just trapped in that time for money trade forever.
All right, so we've covered the mechanics, the nuts and bolts of money. But there's another set of barriers that are just as powerful, and these ones are all inside our heads. These are the unseen mindset gaps. I mean, just think about it. Were you ever taught in school how money really works? Or how to invest without getting scammed? Or how to build a simple financial system? No way. So we just end up copying what we see other people doing, without ever knowing if it's going to get us where we actually want to go. And that lack of knowledge leads us straight into the final trap: short-term thinking. This is that constant battle going on in your head between comfort now versus freedom later. Every time you choose that instant reward, you're making a trade against your future self. And over a lifetime, all those little trades, they add up to a massive deficit. Okay, I know. After listing all these problems, it can feel a little bleak, but hang in there because this is the pivot. This is where we talk about the solution. It's time for a new path forward.
Here's the big realization. When you put it all together, the income cap, the lifestyle inflation, the lack of assets, and the knowledge gaps, you realize it's a flawed system. The problem isn't that people are lazy. It's that they are working incredibly hard on a path that was never, ever designed to lead to freedom in the first place.
So true financial freedom isn't about working harder inside the old system. It's about switching to a new one. And this new system has 4 key pillars. Number 1, you got to find ways to increase your income that aren't tied to your time. Think a side project, a scalable skill. Number 2, you have to consciously control your lifestyle. Here's a simple trick. Next time you get a raise, automatically invest half of it before you even see it. 3, make building assets your absolute obsession. You can start this today, seriously. Open a low-cost brokerage account, set up a small, weekly deposit, and start buying a broad market index fund. You're now an owner. And 4, rewire your brain to prioritize long-term freedom over short-term comfort. This framework, this changes everything.
Look, just understanding these 4 pillars is a huge step. But the real difference between those who actually succeed with this and those who don't, it all comes down to one thing: consistent action. It's about turning these ideas into your daily reality.
So as we finish up, I want to leave you with a question. It's not just about knowing these barriers exist. It's about figuring out which one is holding you back the most. Is it your income, your lifestyle, or your mindset? The first step to breaking free is knowing which wall to start climbing. Let me know what you think in the comments. And hey, if you want to understand the hidden rules of money, make sure you subscribe. Because the biggest financial lessons in life are always the ones nobody ever explains.